Hej allihopa! Tim här. Välkommen till that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a slice of life. Now let's try this the English way. Hi everybody, it's Tim here, and welcome back to that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a slice of life. Pronouns are in him, and today I will be joined by.
Hello, I'm Kittens, and I use pronouns she, her.
Okay, it's been a week on, but you know what? Let's go talk about our favorite Swedish selection, which is Mello. So let's get into it. It's been a week, and let's just say that week has been a very long one. Sweden has concluded its Eurovision 2024 selection, Melodifestivalen, with, of course, the lovely Norwegian brothers Marcus and Martinez getting the trophy and, of course, representing Sweden on home turf in Malmö in the grand final. Let's get into it, kittens. What do you think of Sweden's selection? Did they make the right choice?
I think that Unforgettable is a really good song. I feel like, I mean, I was in the arena last year and I saw the reaction to Marcus and Martinez firsthand, and I feel like it felt like a foregone conclusion, a little bit that Marcus and Martinez were going to go. I still had a little bit of like hope for Medina in particular. I still had a little sliver that they might underdog make it. But Unforgettable, it's a really, solid song. It's got instantly transferable staging. I'm sure they'll have to adjust it slightly for where they are, but at least they have their first on. We know that at this point. So that's going to be interesting to see. I think it's a really catchy song. They're really good performers. Technically, there is no problem with this song at all. And will I be dancing to it? Absolutely. Will I be chanting to it? Absolutely. Is there others I would prefer to win? Maybe.
I think for me, it's like I think the minute they got announced, it was just like we were having a Loreen
It's over.
situation. Yeah, we were having a Loreen situation. We are like, everyone else is just a filler. They're just here to vibe, which in some cases, like we thought that, looking at the betting odds, like like it was Marcus and then Jacqueline was second. Talk about that later on. And then of course Medina was also in the running. And I had the same actually inkling as you, like this was set for Eminem, and I was kind of slyly hoping that Medina would make it because it was like, I mean, we're recording this like what a week on
Yeah.
after after Eminem was selected, and I'm just checking the look. That's today, and as you can see, that's the question. That's like they won, but they're not like a week on. Like it's Medina who's topping this Spotify
Yeah.
charts. So that's kind of like the bit like this is where I have to like butt in and say like, okay, like yes, I know that it was obvious from the outset that it was going to be Eminem, and I have no issues with it whatsoever because we knew that they did well last year. Like,
Yep. They
like
did
that,
well last year. They're great performers. They know what they're doing. They can
yeah.
absolutely bring it every time
Yeah, they were so
without fail.
when I talked to them, they're so humble. Like, if you watch our interviews with them, and I kind of make a slang joke, like, okay, what did you think of Gort? It's like Gort is really nice, and they were being respectful. Like, it's nice that they're seeing something different, and like, and I kind of make a joke saying, oh, who knows, you might even be on the same stage, and every time, and I think I've seen this with every other outlet, they keep saying, don't jinx it. Like,
Mm,
it was obvious from the outset, but there are ones that like let's see how it goes first. I'm not their head's not too like they didn't let it get to their head. They were
yeah.
just like having fun and then just going along with it, which is what I like about them. But before we round this up, I'm just gonna say explicitly, right decision, yes or no?
Oh, that's so hard. I I would love to have seen Medina go. It's like retrospectively knowing that they're opening the show as well. Like we
Mm,
know Marcus and Martinez are going to be first on stage in Malmö. Um, so knowing that and knowing like what it would have been like for Kesara to open on
mm.
stage in Malmö, I am like so a little bit torn. Plus, the only Swedish song that made it to the final. You
Yeah.
know, a Swedish song, a party starter on home soil. I
Mm.
am conflicted. Do I think Unforgettable is going to do insanely well? Absolutely. Um, do I wish in my heart of hearts that it was maybe Medina? Yeah, a little bit.
To be fair though, like I share your sentiment as well, and I was just like, and what I love about Medina is that every time I kept asking them, will it be in Swedish if you ever end up saying yes, we're not gonna change it. And I think that's what the balance is that international juries are more seeing like what's the point, what it would be like for Eurovision, as a kind of like Swedes kind of like there's some like there's a few there's a percentage of Swedes that, like, we want to send Swedish, it's just impossible to get there, or if you get there, it's a very tiny margin, but like this time it was like what 90, like 60, 70, 80 points difference or something like that. So
Mm,
it did come down to like the jury at the end of the day, but we'll talk about that later on. But
yeah.
moving on, I just want to say, like, what did you think of the lineup for the final? Did you think that did you think we had the right 12 for the final?
I mean, I want to talk about Finalkval at some point, but like, do I think that the 12 songs that made it are very good songs? Yes. Do I think some missed out because of how Finalkval worked? Yes. Am I slightly bitter about that with particular songs? Little bit, little bit. Um, yeah, I think we had a really good lineup for the final. I think Mello gets a lot of critique from people who maybe listen to like the first Del Tavling and go, "Oh, this is rubbish." But Mello always comes together in the end. And even if you listen into like one of the sub competitions and go, oh, like half of these tracks are crap. I mean, that's kind of the point of those rounds, to filter out the wheat from the chaff. And, you know, do I think we had some songs that should have made it? Yep. I want to specifically mention Scarlet here. Scarlet, literally the best staging of the entirety of Mellow, in my humble opinion. The most cohesive staging, something that made me have that kind of surprise moment. Absolutely. Would have loved to see that in the final. Do I think that the tracks that made it to the final should have made it? A lot of them, absolutely. I absolutely agree that, stuff like even I'm gonna mention the Amu, because even though that wasn't a song that I'm gonna have on repeat, that stage, that performance was beautiful. Even though it was messed up by the hand trick not going off, you know, still flawless, it as a performer, beautiful. I can't say enough about that. Even though it's not a track that I think personally I'm gonna have on repeat.
I think for me, it's like, yes, it is true. That's the point of having lots of shows, is to whittle down entries, which is a lot of countries do. And I think for me, I think Mello is put on a higher standard, which is my
Yes,
concern. And,
I agree.
if they try to deviate a little bit, even just tiny bit, oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, "Ugh, do you just want to stagnate? Yes or no?" And I'm like, of course, no, you don't want to stagnate. That's why you try little things. So, I'll talk about this later, but I think I really hope some things we've had this year hopefully doesn't bounce back, but we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
But which for me is, I would say, like, it's a great lineup. I think that it was up to a point where everyone had I think everyone had a bit of a more level field, because when we were in the arena, the jury was like, obviously Eminem were and Medina were getting it, but like everyone else had I think everyone had a bit
Yes.
more of a share compared to like the previous years where everything was obvious from the outset,
I
because
I feel like the top two was clear cut.
yeah,
Beyond that, it could have been anybody's game.
it just kept flicking around, which was fun because we never usually have that in Mello. Everyone votes a certain way, and it just went okay, all right. But that's what I liked about that. But I think I'll talk more about the voting later on. But I wanted to ask you, like, you've mentioned Scarlett. Is there any other entries for you that, like, I really love this, it should have made the final, or I just love this and I'm still having this on repeat?
On repeat, I'm going to mention Tretikoimo, um, Leah Larson. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. My God, is that a banger? I love that. I love the performance. It was cheesy, it was ridiculous, and I loved it. I don't care. It was just so much fun. Um, I also wanted to mention Elisa Lindstrom, Forever Yours. What a banger! That's gonna be at Euroclub forever. It doesn't matter. She is going to be a Eurofans national treasure. For sure. I don't see that not happening. She is amazing. I love her. Um, I think there are tracks that also have like ended up on my playlist that may have been like further down the list that may have been slightly ignored. Controller, I really love. It's a lot of fun. And though I think the performance was not great, and I feel like he was shoehorned into a performance, Getting Over You by Alvin Tingle, the recorded version is a banger. It is. You can shake your head at me, Tim, but the recorded version is a banger.
I have opinions on certain entries. I will keep my mouth shut. But I will say, for me, I will echo Kitten's sentiments about Triticoim Ho and Forever Yours, because that it was fun. Elisa and that entry getting 12. I was actually in Malmo, and the fact it was just getting 12, and it was just like chaos of just like, oh my God, will she make it? Won't she make it? I think also for me, the ones that I really liked were no one talks about this, Kim Cesarian. Like, I know that there is a certain market for that entry, and I was really shocked when that crashed out at last place. Like, or it was one of the last places. I was like, can I just can I just double check that happened? But yeah, even Leah, I was just like, what the hell? But I will say, I would love as well, like, Electra was such that I look,
A lot of fun.
a lot of fun. No, no, but then, like, like with drag queens, like, okay, you think you'd be more like out there, but then you hear Robin's voice, and I'm like, wait, is that the same person? Like,
Mm.
and it's just very hypnotizing, and I'm like, and the vibe, and everyone in that arena was vibing. It was so much fun. But anyways, Mellow
May I
20,
also,
yeah, go on, go, go,
sorry,
go.
can I interject with one little robbed queen?
Yeah,
And this is my most unlikely robbed queen,
go on.
is Melina Bogler.
Yep. No.
I I just want to mention this, like the lowest votes of any track, I believe. If I remember rightly, it's literally, and I even though this track does not seem like something I would love, I just want to mention it because it is so different from anything else in the competition, and I feel like it was just massively underwhelmed, like underjudged by everybody. I think it's such a sweet little track, and I hope she comes back. I hope she comes back.
No, I looked at it like, oh my God, yeah, you were right. Okay, but look, I actually talked to her about this, and it was just, actually no, I'll take that out then. I did look at it, and I'm like, she's just here for the vibe, and obviously the other, because everyone else was like, Adam's done it, Samir and Victor's done it, Lisa's done it, Smash has done it, and then Melina's just like in her own little corner, and I'm like, I pers I already got an inkling that you are gonna crash out, and I feel really bad for you. But she was
Yeah,
just a lovely person. So even at the after party, it's like everyone was just like in the after party, everyone gets, to have fun and perform their songs, even if they made it to the final. And obviously, it's not available elsewhere. And Melina, everyone just like stood in silence, just admired the music. Oh, it was so lovely. But like, you could cry at the same time. You can literally hear a needle drop. Oh my God. And very, 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 very amazing. And I wish that, I do hope she comes back next year with a new
yes.
song, and hopefully that catapulted her a bit to potentially make it maybe go forward. But anyways, moving on. Obviously Mello 2024 saw a change, which we've touched upon on earlier on. um they've basically gotten rid of Andra Hansen, second chance, whatever you want to call it, and do a run of vote, which in Swedish they called Finalval. And that saw the third and fourth placers from each sub competition, or each heat, just go on a complete runoff vote after semi-final five. And obviously that meant on that occasion, Annika Vickehalder and Jay Smith qualified to the final. And what shocked everyone the most is Annika Vickehalder and Jay Smith just performed on semi-final five about an hour ago, before final Val occur. And obviously this format obviously cost a bit of fire on Twitter as soon as it happened. But and we were in the Discord chat, and obviously because we could see the rehearsals, and Kittens made up a spreadsheet, of course, our spreadsheet queen. So we were already all tally voting straight away. And then we were like, and I was in the background writing articles like, if you could hear I mean, no offense to any of the participants who were in the Finokval. I'm also a fan. Let's just point that out. We're also fans. And the expletives I put out as soon as we saw the vote and the numbers, and we were all like, everyone on our Discord chat was fuming. Twitter was fuming. I haven't actually asked you this. What was your thoughts when you made up the calculation straight away?
I I I looked at the calculation, and obviously we got in the situation where it was between Jay and Frockensnisk. Um, so because they had the same score, but because luckily I'd worked out how the tiebreak worked, we knew how it was gonna pan out. Um, I feel like quite genuinely that Finalkvalet is my Roman Empire this year. I am so frustrated at Finalkval. I just there are so many things wrong with that as a process that make me so mad. Um, I understand why they're trying to do it. I understand that they're trying to introduce some tension. They're trying to keep people hooked into the last episode. Who's going to qualify? But 10 artists being picked down to two via this bizarre method. With the like memory of the fact that they have just performed. Two of these artists have just performed. Now, we don't know. Maybe if Annika and Jay had been in different semis, maybe they would have still got through. We still don't know, and we never will know. Um, Frokkenstusk, like #1 on the Spotify charts, top 10 in Sverige topplistan, you know, since their song came out. I was shocked to see Frokkenstusk not qualify. Really shocked. I thought that was a dead cert. To the point at which I did not vote for Frokkenstusk because I thought that it was just a dead cert. Um, I don't think it was a fair system. I would have genuinely preferred just 3 artists to go from each heat and have a slightly longer final, or some sort of wildcard system that this wasn't, some sort of jury wildcard or something like that. Um, this ain't it. This ain't it, in my opinion, and I really hope it changes for next year. Either they adjust how the voting happens and they do it. If they have to keep it, they have to adjust the voting scheme. Um, but if they are gonna, they need to change stuff. 2 artists going through from each semi seems harsh to me with what Mello has on offer. And I know people were saying, oh, you know, lesser, artists that maybe coming third were not as, were not as good as some of the other artists. Some artists would have missed out, that made it to Finalkval maybe. But I just think whatever system they use, this ain't it. I don't know what the answer to it is, but it's not this.
I think for me, like when I feel really bad for the artists who are from semifinal 1 to semifinal 4, because they're the ones who like have waited some time for them. Oh my God, I still have a chance. Still have a chance for them to come on Karlstad in semifinal 5 to be like, actually, no, you don't.
Mm.
I think like looking at it like that was I think that's like yeah I think that was like if you're looking at the iceberg like what's really bad like this is coming from a person who basically worships on Mello, like that was not it, like that was like I remember like I posted a screenshot of like oh my God, it was so obvious that it was going to be Annika and Jay. And then I posted like a timestamped screenshot of I just like watch Jay and Annika qualify.
Yep.
And I'm just like, look, I love SVT. I love, there's some changes that I'm like, okay, I am for it, but that was just I don't know what to say, but like that I think for me, it's like there has to be, even if you reset everyone to 0, I think
Mm.
that would have been, I think
Yes.
that would have been the fairer choice, that everyone had an equal footing rather than taking the votes. Because I think if they did that, like not everyone watches the whole 5 weeks.
Mm.
And I think there were just people that like I think they had more people watching, so they had more votes. So the proportions are not.
Yeah, they did some jiggery pokery to
Yeah.
make
So
sure
I
that the
think
votes were level.
yeah. So I think for me, like, don't have two point system. Just have it as that. Like
But
I know.
also,
Yeah.
I think you can't leave it to the final equally. You can't get it to that point because either you have the people in round 1 have had more time to vote to get to the end, or the people in round 1 have had more time to be forgotten. So there needs to be some sort of balance with that, to work out what is the best method. The thing is, they clearly put a lot of thought into how Finalkval was going to work, but did not at any point think the last 2 people would have the most advantage. Um, it, yeah. I don't
And
know.
I think people point out that obviously the hype was the fifth show was always going to be problematic because the interest dips down. So what they did was put Medina and Eminem on there and put the others that are like, not so much, and then put everyone else in. And that might, separate out, weed out the fact that, the final two qualifiers are going to come from the same show. Did not work out. Did not work out. And I feel
I think
really,
they need to look at it. I felt really bad for the artists. I just genuinely felt. Now, obviously, I am hyped for Annika and Jay to get their chance, but equally, I felt really bad for the other artists who had been waiting for weeks to find out whether they were going to be in it, and had slept all the way to Karlstad to see it happen, and then be, you basically got handed a no. And again, we don't know whether the result would have changed. We
Mm.
have no way to tell whether the result would have changed. It may still have been Annika and Jay, but my brain will already, was so just fizzing about this whole situation. Yeah.
Short circuit. But anyways, moving on. Obviously, we're now heading to Malmo. This was one of the last semifinal. Obviously, there's no doubt, there's no fact in doubt, of course, this will return next year. And the fact that depending on how Eminem does in Malmo, other than the Finnhockval, is there any other changes you'd like to make?
I I still think that the songwriter's question for Mello is one that needs to be looked at. I am aware that we have quite a number of people actually debuting as songwriters this year. Um, but I still think we have a situation where, you know, a huge chunk of the songs in the final are written, or at least partially written, by one person. And we talk about Mello having a sound. We talk about that even with like other national finals and other national selections. Oh, this sounds like it was from Mello. I would love Mello to be a little bit more different. When we're looking at, say, what's coming out of, say, Estonia or Croatia versus what comes out of Mello, and I know that Mello has so much. It's a family show. It is an industry all of its own. It is, six essentially sold out shows on tour throughout the country, millions and millions of viewers, something like 75% audience share on the night. Mello is not there is no other national final which takes place on the scale of Mello.
Mhm.
Mello is an industry all of its own. Um, but I would love to see some changes to the songs that are in the selection. I, as much as I love that when all the songs come out, I add instantly 15 to 20 songs to my playlist and just be done with it. Um, I would love to see more variety. I
Mhm.
would love to see different songs coming forward. I would love to see different songs be voted through as well. You know, I I have a lot of discourse which I will not talk about to do with the age ranges. But that's all been talked about in a million years. Um, but I do think that I would like to see Mello take more risks.
Mhm.
With the songs, with the artists. We have a
Mhm.
lot more debutantes this year. As artists, I love to see that. I want to be discovering new artists in selections,
Mhm.
but I would love to see them take more risks,
Mhm.
even if it means that I like fewer songs.
I agree with you in that one. And then the other one I would say is I don't think the age groups are working anymore. Like, okay, look, it's a bit of a blessing in disguise in some cases. I'm gonna point out Elisa Lindstrom because Elisa didn't get much votes, but managed to make it to Finnhockval because of the age groups. I think that we're getting to a system where a point that it's getting a bit too obvious who's voting for who. And I think it's getting a bit hyper inflated with the figures because everyone gets 5 votes. I think they should do like a UK thing where, okay, you can do free voting, but you can only vote 5 times, and you have to pick
Yeah.
which one. Like whether or not you give it to one act or you give it to everyone, like all the five, all or one person doesn't get it, make a change because it's starting to personally become out of. I love Mello. I love look at the end of the day, I think they do the right result, but like for me, I think it's starting to get a little bit like some songs are missing out because of
Yes.
hyperinflated votes or like but that's just my personal opinion. Not everybody shares this, and I'm rarely voicing.
I do think there is a problem with the age voting, and I think that is why we are starting to see songs be more and more generic because they're like, I want to satisfy as many age ranges as possible. I want to be as radio friendly as possible. But equally, does that mean that songs lose a bit of their soul? You know, songs still have to appeal, and songs sometimes do have to be divisive.
Yeah.
Looking at, say, Car this year, and you've got songs which are really emotional and really pull people in up against fun party bops. And I love to see that because you have these two different emotional like pulls.
Mhm.
Um and I don't feel like we got that with Mello this year. It was great songs, but
Mhm.
not emotionally pulling songs.
Yeah, it
And
felt like there was something missing, like from
a
the.
little flat
y-
about Mello.
mm, I think yeah, a little bit, but like I still love it. But like I think like there's like oomph missing from it.
Yes, it felt to me like a little bit had been shaved off everything.
Hmm.
And if you just let those songs be themselves rather than trying to satisfy six age groups and the televote and everything else, would that be a different result? We'll never
Only
know,
we'll never
but
know.
I would like to theorize about it.
But anyways, this is one of our last, hopefully one of our last when this gets out, one of the last ones recaps that we are gonna publish, and that takes us to the end of this Mellow recap. What did you think of this year's Mellow? Did you agree with our opinions or thoughts? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and push the notification bell to be one of the first people to find out when we have a new video. But for now, taking a little bit of a break, and pre-party season is among us. And we're gonna be there very, very soon. And also, of course, going back to Sweden next month. So not that far off. But um as they say in Sweden, hej då and vi
Hey,
ses.
dog.
So see you in the next one.